It's a fact. It's a Friday fact. Yeah. A new fact every Friday. Ready, set, go. It's Friday. That's a fact. It's a Friday fact. Yeah. Yeah. Every Friday.
By default, your API management instance is accessed from the internet at a public endpoint and acts as a gateway to public backends. However, APIM allows you to use an Azure virtual network to secure access to your API management instance and to backend APIs. One of the most incredible things about API management is that it easily allows developers to modernize traditional or legacy APIs or encapsulate and simplify authentication mechanisms to those APIs. One of these examples is when we need to generate a token that will have an expiration time of X amount of minutes. Traditional integration processes will perform 2 calls each time there is a need to communicate to that API. The first request is to generate the token. The second is to perform the desired operation. Even if there are several requests in the period that initial token is alive, those processes simply ignore that capability because normally it requires additional logic involved. Some more smart processes or applications will store that token in a cache or database, and only when the token is about to expire or has already expired will it regenerate that token. Well, this additional logic can simply be transported to the API management layer. To accomplish that, you can expose an internal method, which is token generation. That operation is responsible for checking if there is a token in the internal APM cache. If it exists, return the token from the cache, avoiding an additional call to the API. If not, it will call the API to generate a new token and cache it in the internal APM cache. Then, on the all operation, one of the first things you need to do is to call the internal token generation operation to get the token. You should perform this policy in the all operation in order to avoid re-implement this logic in each operation. The main question is, can we implement a self-chained APIM request? The answer is yes, you can, even if your APIM service is configured to use an Azure virtual network. And here is a sample of a policy statement. Of course, you can use the hostname of the backend URL in many cases, but you may run into specific issues if your APIM is configured to use an Azure virtual network. Now, the trick for this to always work is to change the hostname of the backend URL to https://127.0.0.1. A set header policy should also be added to the send request policy to add the desired host header, previously used as part of the URL. Here is an actual sample scenario. I hope you like it, and see you next Friday for another Friday Fact.